Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. This review is for the movie called Butt Boy. This is a 2019 film that was released in the USA in April of 2020, so it's relatively new actually. And it runs an hour and 40 minutes. I don't see a rating provided at least. And this stars Tyler Rice, Tyler Cornack, and Shelby Dash. The description: Detective Fox loves work and alcohol. After going to AA, his sponsor, Chip, becomes the main suspect in his investigation of a missing kid. Fox also starts to believe that people are disappearing up Chip's butt. This does only have about 530 grades on IMDb, so it really is new, so people do need to watch this, but it's a little absurd, so let's talk about it. This is Butt Boy. Thank you everybody for watching this video. If you'd like any correspondence with me outside of YouTube, I do have my Facebook page up and running. It's Danny's Movies and Music. If you'd like to go check that out and check out the bonus content that I have on there, I'd appreciate it. This is relatively a new movie, so it's always exciting to kind of get these movies that nobody's heard of. The only reason why I watched it last night is because I'm trying to watch some newer movies. Just put out Palm Springs and Irresistible, and I'm going to put out The Outpost here after this. But this is a movie that was referenced to me by somebody else that actually put out a best of 2020 so far list. I've been looking on YouTube. I've only found about 3 or 4 people, including myself, that have put out such list. And so one of the people that did that, this was one of their best movies of the year, so I checked it out. And I don't see eye to eye with him on best of the year, but I did like it. So we'll talk about it a little bit. Butt Boy is a movie about, let's just say, scientific butt, because it's not really understood. It doesn't really explain itself. And somehow Chip has some kind of sexual arousement about shoving things up his butt, and so that's the sci-fi part of this movie. That nothing about this movie is going to make any sense whatsoever. So just prepare yourself for that. It's kind of my biggest flaw with the movie, is that nothing in this movie makes any sense. But when he's not getting enough by shoving little objects up his butt to get himself aroused, he starts to go bigger and better, and eventually things kind of get out of hand. But that's what the movie's about, so I won't go full-fledged into the details. But right off the bat and throughout the movie, my biggest surprisement about this movie, and what I can suggest to you and reference to you, is that this movie actually takes itself really seriously. It has a real cop. He really goes to AA. He's really doing an investigation into this guy, like, about this magical butt. I mean, it's just like, it blows the mind that you're making such a silly movie, and it's a sci-fi kind of horror feeling, but everybody is taking themselves very seriously, like they're in the real world, like this is a real thing. And as we near the end and the absurdity comes out of this movie, I'm just like, I was expecting more, because when you come up with an idea like this, you can't just have a normal movie. You gotta do something to make it more outrageous. I think that the biggest flaw for me is things not making sense. The biggest thing in that field is, all of a sudden the cop just kind of goes to his chief and says his theory about Chip in his butt. And to this day, and probably for the rest of my life, after watching this movie, I will never understand how he finds out about Chip in his butt. Because the way they make the movie for us viewing it is that Chip does some things and some things go missing, but we don't really see him like absorbing it, or if it's going into a vortex or whatever. And so the mystery about the whole movie is just kind of like held off screen. And so if the cop finds out about this off screen, then that's a real big problem in the movie that they should have addressed. Because I thought I was paying attention, and all of a sudden the cop's like figuring out everything. I'm like, how? How in the world would anybody find out about this ever? Like, I mean, there are some things in this world that think they're perfect crime, and people say that doesn't exist, but I think this is pretty close to not being able to ever get caught. But because they have a movie and because they have a story and they need to advance it, they have Chip get caught. I just don't understand how he ever would, but that's like my biggest flaw. So there's some other things really bad with this. Some of the punches that are thrown are just awful, like really bad thrown punches. I mean, everybody knows that most punches and everything are fake, but these are pretty bad, staged. And I don't know, just some of the acting was pretty dry. I think it's what they were going for, just the mood of the movie and stuff like that. But overall, I enjoyed myself. Overall, I was really enticed with this movie. I was drawn in. I'm glad I got referenced it. I'm glad I experienced it. It's not as odd as a certain award-winning movie with an alien and a lady kind of budding a romance, if you know what I'm talking about. It's not as bad, or it's not as creepy and weird feeling as Under the Silver Lake, a movie that I own, that I experienced for myself, and I've been trying to reference to people for years. Those movies had like a point, and they had a reason for things happening, and an actual storyline that had a result that actually made sense. This one is just weird to be weird, and I just wish it would have been a little bit more structured. I think it would have been a lot more enjoyable. I think the quality of the movie really does hurt itself. The fact that we don't really know anybody in this movie, and just some of the ways that things happen, I just was experiencing much more of a sci-fi feeling. I thought, maybe like South Park, something would actually come out of his butt to absorb things, but we never like actually get drawn into that process. So it's a weird movie. I'm glad I watched it. I'm gonna give Butt Boy a B. I do hope that people get drawn to this movie because it's weird. I think that people can have different opinions about it, but I think there are some obvious things wrong, and all I'm left with are questions. And that's not always a good thing. Sometimes that's great if movies are all they're doing is making you question what this meant and what that meant for conversation purposes. But this one, I just feel like it created too many questions about common sense. Like why in the world would this have happened? And it's a bad thing. So a B for Butt Boy. I do hope you check it out. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or my other videos, try and get some of them to watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. Enjoy movies. Thanks.